All right. Here we go. Covering the war in Israel. Well, in this live stream video, we are going to be talking about how could Israel have missed the mark. You had 5,000 rocket attacks, estimated 1,000 ground troops, and nobody saw this coming. Israel's supposed to have one of the best intelligence in the world as far as local capabilities and as far as global capabilities are concerned. So we're going to go through all of this and sort of try to dissect what is happening and what Israel is going to do. There's a lot of speculation out there that the Iron Dome needs either an upgrade or they need to integrate it somehow with some other factors, but yeah. If you're watching this live, welcome to the live. Make sure you turn on notifications and like the stream. All right. Might be a little slow here. Let's get into this. First things first. This right here is absolutely insane, and this is like all over the news, and I've talked about this before, but we have to watch it. That is crazy. Again, this has never been seen before, ever. I've never seen it. And I don't think Israel expected this, to say the least. Now, obviously, this is not the most effective means of infiltration because you're highly exposed. But nonetheless, it happened. Again, welcome to the stream. Something else to consider. Bro is Superman. Something else to consider. Iran was chanting death to Israel and death to America. And Iran has already confirmed and said they were involved in the attacks. Yes, please like the live stream. Let's get the news out there. Iranian-supplied MRLS and rocket platforms were supplied to Hamas and used in the attacks. And again, I question, how was nobody able to see this? Or at least somewhat predict. And I've shown this before, but this is pretty obvious. Reserves have all been called in. Now, we don't know if this is because of defensive measures or we're going for an all-out attack. But according to the Prime Minister, who does have Twitter, we are at war. In war, one needs to be level-headed. I call on all citizens of Israel to unite in order to achieve our highest goal, victory in the war. So I don't know what the end goal is, and I don't know what victory actually means. Oof. But they're all in on this is what it's looking like. And yeah, we are going to talk about the assault, Kyle. So let's talk about the assault. The assault was not just this, all right? What the assault incorporated was rockets, air assets, ground assets, and sea assets. Which, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think any country, like, let's say theoretically this happened to the United States today where, like, the cartel did the exact same thing. I don't even think the United States would be prepared for this. And so the speculation is those rocket attacks and air attacks meant nothing. The real assault was supposed to be the ground assets who all came in and stormed multiple bases. In fact, you even have, I have it here somewhere, a colonel who was taken out in one of these attacks from a popular or one of the main infantry brigades in the Israeli military. army. And we keep seeing words like mighty vengeance. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin on Saturday promised mighty vengeance for Hamas attacks against Israel. Again, we do want peace. Yeah. If you're watching this live, make sure to like the live. That's the only way we can push it out. Also, make sure you turn on notifications. I keep seeing comments that you guys are not seeing the live stream. That's what happens on YouTube. So you got to turn on the notifications and you got to like. The Second Amendment is looking better. I agree. He warned that Hamas was responsible for all the well-being of Israeli hostages, calling the bloody attacks unprecedented. Now, here's the other issue for the Israelis. The hostages that are being held in Gaza are almost being used as like a shield. And so Israel, although they have already sort of done an air campaign and are still doing strikes, you can only strike so much into a country. You don't want to take out your own hostages. So again, we have air, sea, and land attacks. They captured objectives. When I say they, I mean Hamas. They brought back targets, and now these targets are in the Gaza Strip. And so I don't know how Israel's almost going to be forced to have to go or endure a ground campaign at this point. Somebody said, Sidrat police station destroyed by Israeli police due to loss of the police station. Dang. Got to take out your own. But yeah, I mean, we have like constant news flooding in left and right. I mean, it's like insane. Here we go. Here's a hot take about Hamas. Hamas may be trying to derail a U.S. brokered pact between Saudi Arabia and Israel. This is interesting. Let's read this real quick. Hamas is blaming its unprecedented attack on Israel on recent actions by Israel at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem and in the West Bank. But Israel's coalition government has been conducting an escalating crackdown against what they say are Palestinian extremist and rising Palestinian attacks for more than a year. Didn't I tell you yesterday that we should invade Jerusalem? This is crazy. If you're watching this live, one of my subscribers, B. Lewis, before this war started, said we should invade Jerusalem. B. Lewis, how did you know that? How did you know this was going to happen? Are you CIA, bro? That's wild. We are against any bilateral relations between our regional countries and the Zionist regime, a reference to Israel. So, of course, Iran. For those of you who are not aware, Iran and Saudi Arabia are not necessarily the best of friends, but they're becoming closer and closer. And Iran has already stated we are backing Hamas. Everyone has known this. As far as these specific attacks, looks like it was funded by the Iranians. Who's we? I don't know who we is, but B. Lewis said we. Yeah, I mean, the casualty toll is going up on all sides like crazy. And I don't even report the numbers because they're not accurate. Because at the very beginning, we're like, oh, we had 30 people from Israel taken out. Now we have 200. Sadly, a large amount of this is going to stop the next choosing from taking place. Too many places trying to divert our attention while Nephra's three-letter agencies defraud us. Interesting. Technically, I said we should reclaim the Holy Land, Jerusalem, but it looks like Hamas had the same idea. B. Lewis is about to be on the watch list. Now, this right here scares me a little bit. I had done a video talking about how much integration the U.S. military will be doing with Israel. U.S. considering enhanced intelligence sharing with Israel. Oofa. The U.S. is discussing enhancing its intelligence sharing with the Israelis to support the Israeli government during the ongoing conflict with Hamas. For those of you who are not aware, the United States has troops already stationed in Israel. I actually had people comment and message me privately asking, is the U.S. military going to get involved in this conflict? We are always involved with Israel ever since the 70s. So I say yes and no, not in the way that we might think of soldiers next to soldiers fighting in direct action, which is usually called boots on the ground. But as far as intelligence agencies, the United States and Israel has always worked together, and the Iron Dome has brought Israel and the United States together, and F-16s. If you're just joining now, make sure to turn on your notifications because you're going to keep missing these streams. YouTube is weird like that. It's unsubscribing people and doesn't show you the stream. So make sure you turn on notifications and like the stream. How do you join the watch list? U.S. officials said that if the Israelis knew this attack was coming, they did not share it with the U.S. It doesn't look like the Israelis knew this attack was coming. If they knew this attack was coming, this would be the craziest way to allow yourself to go into a conflict. The U.S. government was surprised by the attack, according to the multiple U.S. officials, and everybody's surprised. I mean, 5,000 rockets is a lot to miss. Gaza is not a big area, people. I've been unsubbed several times. That's great to see. Make sure everybody here subs. Even when notifications are on, it doesn't always show you. Yeah, that is just crazy. I'm sorry, guys. This is what YouTube has been doing to this channel. Is like if you turn on notifications and you are a subscriber, you don't always get notified. So the best thing I can say is like the video. Gaza Strip. How big? Let's look up how big the Gaza Strip is. 140 miles. That's nothing. And so there's a lot of questions. Again, how did we miss this? And it's interesting the United States is even like, something's not lining up here, guys. I'm not trying to add fuel to a fire here, but that's kind of what this video is all about. If the government can turn on post notifications as someone joins a watch list, you can turn on. This was only surprising to us, not to anyone in the intelligence community, not Israel. Bad people do bad stuff. We don't have good people in power. Yeah, so here's what the surprise is. Not necessarily like, oh, the surprise is stuff like this. This has never been done before. Okay, so the surprise is stuff like this and the ability to have a unified attack from air, sea, and land. And what's also interesting is you can tell the tactics are a little bit different here, where the focus typically tends to be on these mass rocket attacks, like almost like it's World War II once again. But those rocket attacks seem to have been sort of a nothingness. They were effective, and where it made everyone look up and it made the Iron Dome activate, and it just seemed like a normal day in Israel. The alarms are going off. But when you guys have people flying over your head, and you have people coming up on your shores, you have motorbikes on the border storming Israeli bases, that was the main surprise. Ignoring a threat is a great way to increase patriotic vigor behind nations. Yeah. And I will say, I'm not the tinfoil hat kind of guy, but Israel, there's speculation in the media that Israel kind of sort of needed this to happen, which is the worst thing ever because we don't want this to happen, because Israel under this prime minister hasn't been as unified. The Israeli military casualty count, I think, is around 200 right now. But again, I am trying to stay away from reporting on the casualties only because it is not accurate. Right here, over 200 Israelis have been taken out. Now, we don't know exactly how many of that is military. And this number, I've seen it to be in the thousands of people in Gaza who've been taken out, which is insane for less than 24 hours of retaliation and warfare. That's really bad. I hope those guys ate a bug before they landed. Wild. Again, if you're just joining, turn on your notifications because you're going to miss the next streams. Notifications and likes, baby. This right here had a lot of people a little annoyed because I don't think they understood the implications of a green light for Israel. Yes, I will keep covering this stuff. We're all in on this conflict, people. I never got in with the whole Ukraine-Russia, but I've actually always been passionate about the conflicts out here between Israel and the Gaza Strip, even since I was a kid. Let's talk about this real quick. Biden statements, green light for Israel. Some people speculated, well, what does the United States have to do with Israel? Why does it matter if the U.S. is like, you can defend yourself? Understand that the U.S. has a massive influence on Israel. I mean, many people speculate without the United States, Israel would be nothing. And so it's more just an acknowledgement of, hey, do what you need to do, and we got your back type of thing. Speaking to Al Jazeera, U.S.-based electronic website said that Biden's unequivocal support for Israel will likely lead to more violence in the coming days. I don't disagree with that. We should take Joe Biden's statement as a green light to Israel to perpetrate more of the kinds of massacre that is going to be carried out against Palestine people now for almost 80 years with total impunity. So this guy is obviously anti-Israel. You're probably one of the first ones to cover this on YouTube. Well, I appreciate that. I woke up to this and I was like, do I do this or not? I was like, here we go. Hey, thank you for the $5 donation. How did they convince to fly low and slow over the IDF positions in that unarmored power glider? Seems like a one-way mission to me. You talking about this right here? I think these guys have done crazier, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. That's the other thing. That is the speculation of how did they know to do this? I know these guys are not dumb. Like, when we think about these attacks, and the United States has been very guilty of this as well, especially in Afghanistan, just because you are a major superpower in the year of 2023, our Lord's year, doesn't mean that things like this can't happen. So you got to be extremely careful. And so having a multi-complex attack like this is actually, I'm not giving credit like, oh, I love these guys, but countries need to realize that these bad guys are starting to smarten up. Yeah, somebody said, do they blend in with the tourists doing regular sailing in the area? I have no idea about any of this. I don't know what the tourist sailing is like out there, but somebody said, what even is 2023 at this point? I have no idea. 2023 is absolutely bonkers. Oh yeah, so this is what I was trying to find. This is important. You have a pretty high-ranking military member here, Israeli brigade leader, taken out. Israel's military has said the commander of the Nahal Brigade, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Steinberg, was taken out by Hamas fighters in southern Israel. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you guys the footage, but all over Twitter and Instagram, you can actually see the footage that was released like immediately by Hamas, and you can see them actually engaging Israeli targets like you've never seen before. Complex ambushes, knowing when to assault, having indicators of ambushing, like a lot of, if you know what you're looking for, you can see that these guys have been practicing and training, and somebody either told them how to do this or they've just been waiting and waiting for this moment to happen. Somebody said the response will be massive, long, and hellacious. I wonder if it'll extend directly into Iran, the sponsor of it. This could be the triggering factor into Iran. I don't want to speculate too hard, but every time an attack like this happens, Iran always is like, yes, yeah, we're so happy it happened. We'll see. How many hostage? No one seems to talk about this. I think it's up in the 30s, if I remember correctly. The military said on X Steinberg was taken out near Karim Shalom. He was responding to a fight between his brigade and Hamas fighters. So, hey, you got to give him that. He went out like a hero. He went to go help his boys and not hide. And he's a high-ranking dude. He could have hid, so... Man, it's wild. Here we go. Somebody wanted a casualty toll. This is right now at this time. 232 taken out and 1,700 injured in the Gaza Strip. How much danger do you think Israel really is in? Right now, I think, well, first off, it's all relevant. So Israel has always been in this danger since it's happened. I think Israel has had many exploitations in their defenses on the border and with their Iron Dome. In my opinion, it looks like they need some sort of reform of like if an Iron Dome goes off, everybody on the border needs to be like, hey, something's about to happen. Or you have to expect it. Because a lot of this failure was due to complacency, unfortunately. When you look at the videos, I mean, some people were sleeping. Israel will be in real danger if Iran truly gets involved and Lebanon get involved. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you guys are turning on the notifications because a lot of you guys are not seeing the stream and are like, what is happening? Turn on the notifications and make sure to like the stream. Do you think they have necessary level of training to do this by themselves without anyone training them? Absolutely not. I don't care. Go and watch the combat footage. You don't just know how to do this. Even in the U.S. Army, once you go through basic training, it takes you the minimum. You're not just going from basic training to a deployment. Yes, that does happen, but realistically, you go basic training, so about 10 weeks, 9 weeks, and then you'll go to a training center. So you're not going into a conflict with no less than 6 months of training. When you look at Ukraine and you look to see how bad they were in 2014 and what they are today, it doesn't just happen because, oh, we're going to watch some YouTube videos and we know what we're doing. Now, yes, you could have a surprise assault and get lucky, but that's what happens in Africa. In Africa, you have these groups who have zero training, zero discipline. Again, I cannot show you guys the footage, but if you do go back and watch a lot of the footage, they're actually stacking on walls. They're throwing like flashbangs. It is, you don't just know how to do that. I don't know how else to explain it. It becomes muscle memory. Even as a combat engineer, when you're turning and looking over walls, you know to switch your weapon around because it becomes muscle memory. But you only know that through training, not through like Call of Duty on YouTube. If the IDF did need this on some level, I have to think strikes into Iran will be ready and fast. You can't take that out of question considering Israel is the only country to have ever taken out a reactor, nuke reactor. They did it in Iraq with F-16s, modified F-16s. Israel, Russia, same thing. Neither Ukraine or Palestine are real countries. Dang, that's a hot take. Israel always picking on the abusing. Iran coming soon. I don't think Iran will come in. I don't think they're fit to fight, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't think that'd be a good move on them. All right, let's see just a little bit more. Here we go. Just as we were talking about it, people were asking about the prisoners. Hamas says number of Israelis taken prisoners several times, greater than dozens. So greater than dozens. I suggested around 30. That was the report I was seeing. Surprised to see you live. I love your videos. Hey, Pew Pew. Exactly my point. Make sure to turn on your notifications and make sure to like the stream because a lot of people are missing the lives. For whatever reason, YouTube is just like, nah, we're not going to show it. Sometimes we'll show it, sometimes we won't. So you got to like the live and you got to turn on your notifications. Hamas says number of Israelis taken prisoners several times greater than dozens. The total number of Israelis captured by Hamas is several times greater than dozens according to the military wing in Hamas. A Hamas spokesman was responding to Israeli statements on those taken captive. Neither side has given a clear number. Biggest issue here is that these captives can now be used as shields against Israel. That would be quite an issue if Israel was striking Gaza and all of a sudden they took out their own people. You obviously don't want that to happen. And I think this, to me, is an indicator that Israel will have to be led into a ground invasion. You got to be careful with the air campaign. Ring that bell. Subscribe. Thank you. Okay, yeah. That's pretty much what's going on. In my opinion, this was a total failure by Israel, but as I was saying, I don't think they lost the battle. You have to admit, they did lose the battle, but I don't think they've lost the war. I know it's a very cheesy line, but that's where we're at right now. They got sucker punched. Even the greatest fighters in the world, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, they get punched too, so it is what it is. And unfortunately, this is happening in an area where it's been happening for a long time. I don't like to see it happen. But I'll definitely keep covering this for you guys. So, yeah. I don't think this will lead to the cartels doing anything. Cartels have... Hamas wants quote-unquote freedom. Cartels want money. Okay? Massive difference here. Thank you. Roy Winder. Yeah, this is something different. A little different. The cartels could care less about going to El Paso and saving El Paso. They want that money. These guys want to take back their lands. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to post this live stream. If I didn't read your comment, go over to the posted live stream. Leave your comments there. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure, again, you are liking and you are turning on the bell notifications because you're going to keep missing these live streams. So, thank you again for everything, and we will keep covering this. It's getting crazier and crazier by the day, and hopefully it ends soon. So, all right. Love you guys, and we'll see you later.